Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and today is Friday, October 9th, 2020, and this is our weekly look back at last week's eBay auction results, what happened at Catawiki, what's been going on in the Bidamount Global member auction pages in the last week. It's been really busy, and a little bit of information about the Sothebys sale that took place last night, the Monochrom auction. We stayed up to record it, as much of it as we possibly could. It didn't begin until 10 o'clock Eastern time here in New England, but we recorded a great deal of it. We're going to edit it up over the weekend, slice it up, and show you the results. There were some very interesting results. One of the things I wanted to mention was this. Last night, on Thursday evening, the 8th through the 9th, we encountered a site issue because we'd been doing a lot of updates to the site, as many of you know, and we're building the other site, which is coming along well. And what actually happened was we had some technical glitches, and we began running out of server space because of everything we've done. And we were in touch this morning with our provider, and they've added 100 gigabytes of storage space onto the site because we've already gone through 200 gigabytes in the last year. And we've got it set up so this won't happen again. They're going to keep increasing it as we need it. But the site just wouldn't appear for a few hours overnight, and I'm sorry about that. We had no idea that was going on. But at any rate, it's been fixed. It was fixed very quickly this morning as soon as I got in touch with them. All right, a couple of things now to go over. The Sotheby sale last night, monochromes. It was a breathtaking auction, and we were going to do a video on it next week. The sale grossed 341 million Hong Kong dollars, or roughly $40 million US, with an average lot price of around $330,000, $340,000 per lot. And there were some very interesting shifts in the market that occurred, or that it became obvious in this sale last night, and we're not quite sure if it's just a one-off or something else, but the Ming furniture prices went through the roof. And just to give you some idea what we'll be talking about, the porcelain and things did okay. It was sort of where it's always been, but the and that jade cup we talked about did spectacularly well. But here was the first lot set the tone for the furniture for the evening. I'll give you an idea. It was estimated at 300,000 to 500,000 Hong Kong dollars, sold for 8 million Hong Kong dollars, which is around roughly 15 times its high estimate. And that was sort of repeated in varying degrees throughout the auction. And we're going to talk about that. It was a very interesting auction, and stay tuned for it. I think you're going to enjoy it. Really interesting stuff. Great stuff. Over on the global member auction pages, I mentioned last week that Rob Michaels has one of his big sales coming up. It was partially loaded last week on Invaluable, and they got it fully loaded up over the weekend. I had mentioned it in the previous interview, and it's all been added to the global member auction pages. Here it all is. Some great stuff. It's on Invaluable and on Live Auctioneers, and we'll do a video on his sale. We always do. And also, Juanis and Art Auctions in Italy has just posted a really nice auction of Chinese porcelain and Japanese art, Chinese, Japanese bronzes, everything. Some good things. They're well described and so forth. But this is just the stuff on the Invaluable page. This should give you some idea how much has been loaded into the global member pages just this week. This is just endless. The amount of good stuff that's on here. This is all stuff that we picked out that we liked. This is the section of the Michael sale, and it just goes on and on and on and on down the page. There is a lot of material, and that's just the live auction, the Invaluable page rather. That's not the Live Auctioneers page, which has more stuff on it. So if you subscribe, check it out. We updated the pages, I think, 3 times this week because so much kept popping up every morning when we went to check what had happened overnight. Okay, so, and if you're not a subscriber, you might want to try it because it'll save you a lot of time finding stuff that's worth bidding on, because we do look at it before it gets put on there and do our very best to make sure it's authentic. And if stuff like this is the Mono sale, nice Kangxi period dish. They have a lot of Kangxi pieces, as does the Michael sale, and as do several other sales. And there's a lot of Ming to mid-Qing, mid-18th century material on right now, and also some very, very good Japanese stuff. All right. and that's what's going on over there. On the auction newsletter page, the results. These are the things. If you subscribe, you know all about it. If you don't subscribe to it, these are the things that we picked out each week to put on the global newsletter page to let the readers know about it. There was quite a bit of material on there last week. eBay's been kind of quiet for the last couple of months for some reason. Suddenly this week, a lot of new listings went up on the American side, particularly on eBay. About a 30% jump in content over the previous weeks, and we don't know why. Maybe people are just deciding to get back to work. I don't know, but we're going to have a lot of things on the page this week, so check that out. And what happened last week was this. We had mentioned this really nice. This was on Catawiki. This was a very, very nice. It was a large bamboo vase. It was about 71 centimeters tall, around 26 inches or so at height, inlaid with ivory and mother of pearl. Just a beautiful example. Really exceptional work. Here it is. This is a big piece of bamboo, big section, huge section, finely carved, well done, and it ended up selling for 653 euros, which I think was a very nice buy for someone. I think this was a very nice buy. Absolutely great. And they also had this sold over the weekend. And I think this was a very reasonable buy. Was this Kangxi pattern deer and cart pattern dish? This is a fairly well-known pattern. You see them around, but the decoration on it was very, very nice. There was a tiny, tiny nick out of one part of the rim, and it sold for just 200 euros. Here's the center of the plate and so forth. It's a good-looking dish. It's actually a bowl, technically. And it went for just 200 euros. I think that was very reasonable. It was estimated reasonably, too, 150 to 200 euros, right in the ballpark. All right, and then on to this early 18th century Kangxi Cobalt ground plate with Famille decoration, nicely done, nicely shaded, good condition, and somebody got a good buy on this, $269. I think that was a nice buy for a desirable pattern. This was from a seller over in Kent in the UK. All right, and then on to this. This was the one of these Krong type bowls for the Thai market. A nice one, a well-known one. They also made little cups in this pattern. Sometimes you come across little wine cups done in the same exact pattern, but it was very nicely decorated and simply decorated. It's just decorated. The only two colors on this piece were obviously the green foot rim, some red enamel, underglazed red, and some gilding. That was it. That was it, or some overglazed red enameling, rather. And that was it. Very simple, very nice effect that causes when they do it this way. Had a tiny nick in one part of the rim, and it went reasonably, $284. All right, and this was a 19th century example. All right. And then mosey on over to this. I think this was a fabulous buy. Somebody got I hope one of you got these. It was a really nice pair of horse and rider, these famous battle scenes that you often see on Kesi panels. They did them fairly often in this manner. I've owned a lot of them over the entire strips of them. But this was a nice pair, all framed and ready to hang in a fairly appropriate frame, I think, but in good condition. And somebody picked the pair up for $222 from a seller down in St. Port Lucia, Florida. Very reasonable, and the shipping was free on these. And shipping framed art can be expensive, so that was a heck of a good buy. $222 on your doorstep. And then over here to this was this very nice, let's get them up here, this very nice pair of Japanese early Arita co-ware dishes with brown dressing on the rim, pine trees climbing out of rocks in the center. Very attractive, nicely shaped rims. Nicely shaped with the brown dressing all intact, because sometimes with that brown dressing, if it gets a little chip out of it, it's just really noticeable. It's like a missing tooth. But at any rate, these went, I think, for a very fair price, $362. This was from the Shangri-La guys. Oh, incidentally, they have been added to the homepage. If you know about the two guys over in the Netherlands that run Shangri-La Antiques, we did add them. If you want to check it out, I'm just going to go quickly back to this. Hold on. In case you're wondering where they are. We put a link on the homepage to them because we have so many people that send us inquiries. They bought something from them, they want to, and they like them, and they always say, what do you think of this? I bought this from the Shangri-La guys. It's over here in the blue drop-down boxes on the main page, Shangri-La Antiques Amsterdam, and there's Bob Montague and Freak Pals. Nice guys, and they've got thousands of things on their website, and you can buy directly from them, and you can buy from them on eBay. All right, so just keep that in mind going ahead if you're looking for some real assortments to go through. I think there's 3,000 pieces on this site right now. All right, now over to the rank badge. Nice looking rank badge, beautifully done, late 19th century, late Qing by the looks of it. It's not a military rank badge; it's a regular governmental work badge, but a nice one. I think I'm not sure what the rank is, sixth rank, and. At any rate, it went for $610, which I think was a nice buy because it was in such good condition. The colors were still nice and crisp, and they have it dated as 1900s. I think it might have been a little older, but it was just in very, very good condition. All right, sometimes silks can look awfully new when they're in beautiful condition. If you've ever encountered silks in trunks and in boxes that have been there for a long time and put away carefully, they don't fade. Everything looks perfect. We had as one of my anecdotes, we had a house up in New Hampshire many, many years ago we went to, and they were the descendants of missionaries, and they had lived in China in the late 19th century, and there were trunks in the attic of this house, and they were filled with Chinese silk robes, including imperial court robes. And when you open the trunks up, they were just as fresh and as spectacular as they were 100 years ago. It was really strange. It was the condition and the colors were also perfect. So always take that into mind when examining textiles, the silks especially. All right, if they've been stored, the colors are strong and vibrant, and they still look spectacular. All right, and then over here to this, the Mei Ping Bass. It was a 19th century vase, but a very, very nice one. 18th, early 19th century, but it had a really nice, even glaze on it. And here's a picture of the bottom of it. To me, that looks more like an early 19th century one. They had said it was 18th or 19th century or something, but regardless, it was a nice looking pot. Very robust form too. Very, very energetic potting on this. And it got a lot of attention. In the end, it had 47 bids and sold for $4,069. This was from a seller in Lake Orion, Michigan, middle of the country. Nice looking pot. And then over to this, the Famille Rose slab constructed 19th century vase. It was a good size one, and it was beautifully decorated. The decoration on this was really, really good. And the handles, the mask handles with the robin's egg blue of the lion's mask was in excellent condition, and it sold for $3,985. And this was a good size one. The exact height was, I hate it when they put it way at the bottom, it was 22 inches. This was a big pot. The prices of these, always keep in mind, once this form of vase, these slab-constructed vases, and what slab-constructed means is that these weren't thrown on a wheel, obviously. They're made of flat sections of flattened clay merged together and then trimmed to form a square vase. And once they go over 16 or 17 inches, they rise precipitously in value inch by inch as they go up, and 22 inches is particularly desirable size. That's very much on the larger end of the spectrum for these 19th century Qing pieces. $3,985. Had a tiny nick and a little bit of other things, but that was about it. And it was a good vase. And then over here to this 18-inch tall Nonya Straits vase, a good one, nicely decorated, later Qing, but beautiful enameling, bright and vibrant, just what you'd expect from the Straits porcelain group, and nicely done applied chimeras and food lions. A beautiful example, and it sold for $2,275. Not bad at all. And then over here was another one of these Ben Krong bowls. These are the more typical ones that you see with the black background and the seated Buddha figure and so forth. And I had a little bit of enamel fading on the inside, mostly from wear and use, because these bowls tended to get used a lot. And but it was a nice one, and I think somebody got a dandy buy on this. $305. Most of the time when we see these, they sell in the $500 to $650 range, and I think somebody just got a nice buy on it. The interior, as I said, had some wear to it. You can see it here in the enamels. They called it fading. It's really not fading. It's actually just wear that gets into the color a little bit. But it was a nice example, and it was 5 3/4 inches, about 6 inches in diameter, which is typical for these. That's about how big most of them are. Occasionally, you'll see one that's 8 or 9 inches, but it's fairly unusual. And then over here to the pith painting that was framed. I thought this was a very atmospheric little painting done in the second half of the 19th century of 4 women sitting around a go board. And there's a nice table in the back with some flowers, and then the moon window in the background with the apple blossom tree or plum blossom tree coming up outside. Very nicely done. And it was just a charming scene. And sort of daily life in China is always interesting. And it sold for $258. Not a bad thing. That was a good buy for something that was in a nice early frame, too. That frame is probably a 120-year-old frame. Very nice looking. And then mosey over to here. This was like one of the great little buys of the week. Sold for $69. This latter 18th century, 1780s export plate with a peacock and a landscape setting. It was about 10 inches or so in diameter, as I recall. Had a tiny nick. And somebody picked it up very reasonably for just $89. You can't get away. You can't beat that. That was a dandy little buy. It was sold by a dealer over in Reading in the UK. Nice example. All right. You don't have to be rich to buy this stuff. You just have to be careful and always leave a bid. Okay, always leave a bid. I hear from people all the time that actually do that. It's interesting that I had a fellow email me last week, and he left a number of bids on Catawiki, and he left a number of bids on eBay, and I mean a number by like 50 or 100 of them, and he got 6 things for next to nothing. It was quite impressive, and he sent me the pictures. Anyway, this is a very nice, sort of typical late Qing, early Republic skirt on a red ground, nice needlework that looked to be in very good condition all the way around, and sold for $510. But again, it was in very nice shape. He said there's areas of stain to the silk. I couldn't see where it was, so it must be very, very faint. All right, and then we'll take a look and see what's coming up this week on here. That's my little watch list. There we go. I'm in the process of buying some clothes. I like to buy shirts from a couple of companies on eBay, and over here is this very nice transitional period, late Ming transitional period Wukai Fu Lion jar. You've seen them before. It's a well-known type. In that nice soft underglazed blue, and it's right now it's got 4 days to go. It'll be on the newsletter page this week. It's up to $13.50. Ought to bring 400 to 600 because as I recall, how big was this? Was decent, not a bad size. I know he had it in here somewhere. At any rate, I think it's about 7 inches tall. Nice looking thing. And then over here to this reticulated wall cup with that honeycomb pattern. It's a wine cup that'll be on there. Nice Kangxi Amari example. Looked to be in good shape and rather unusual for that period. They didn't do a lot of reticulated cups in the Kangxi period. They did a lot of them in the Ming, and they did some in the Kangxi, but not a lot of them. And they never did a lot of them anyway. They also did them in wine, in teapots and wine ewers, as you know. But this was a dandy-looking little cup, underglazed blue with iron red decoration. It's up to $343. Closes on next Tuesday. Come over and take a look at that. And then another rank badge. This closes in 5 days. This is Handy's Antiques. They sell on and off. They're down in New York. They come and go. And when they come on, they usually have nice things. And this is a good-looking rank badge. Nice looking badge, beautifully done. Here's a picture of the back of it. You get a good clear image of it all the way around. The tiger or the leopard is in beautiful, beautiful condition. The threads which make up the whiskers are all still sewn in nicely. Often those are the first to go. They get yanked out for some reason. And here's another shot of it with the clouds. I like it. The cloud pattern on this is very, in the way that the waves are done at the bottom, is very much in the Ming manner. Okay, and that may affect the price because Ming silks are so rare. People pay a premium for them when they're even 18th century examples. This one, the seller's dated as Kangxi to Yongzhen period. It's quite possible, but it's based on earlier badges as far as the style of the elements goes. It's a nice looking thing. And then ending in a couple of days on when does this end? This ends on Sunday. Is this very nice? If you like Wan Li porcelain and you like Wan Li examples with good deep cobalt on it, this is a plate you want to look at. It's not a huge one. It's about 10 inches or so in diameter, but beautiful quality, beautiful, beautiful quality decoration. It's up to €341. It does have it is currently below its reserve. The reserve is 650 to 750, but I think it's worth 650 euros because of the quality of it. There it is. Beautiful quality, very well defined, not watery and washed out the way a lot of Wanli pieces are. This is very nice piece, and the back of it is quite clean. Many of you know, Wanli pieces tend to be just encrusted with kiln grit and gunk and goo, and they never really finish the backs of them off all that well. This one is nicely finished on the back. Front and back, it's a good plate, all right? And that's about it for the week. Check back next week. We'll be doing another video on that monochrome sale. I think you'll like it. A very, very good auction. And here's some other things that are going on we'll talk about. And if you had trouble getting access to the site overnight between yesterday and early this morning, I apologize. It was not our intent. It wasn't anything we did intentionally. It was just a matter of capacity and servers because the site has grown so darn much. All right. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.